Hi, my name is Maury Turner, and I decided to do my oral presentation on a lesson of humility. Humility is widely considered by most one of the first virtues. St. Augustine said that humility is the foundation of all other virtues. Humility is one of the only virtues widely considered by all cultures, religion, and across the world. The last act that Jesus did before he was sacrificed on Calvary was to show an act of community in the upper room at the Last Supper as he washed the feet of his 12 disciples. Him washing the feet shows a hierarchy of status, stooping down to the lowest of status and humbling himself to wash their feet. His disciples were confused, like, we got people for this, Jesus, you don't have to do this. But Jesus was like, I got to do this because I have to show you what a humble leader looks like. Just to give you guys a definition of what humility looks like, humility is the quality of condition of being humble, modest opinion, or estimated of one's own importance, rank, etc. The other definition says that humility is freedom from pride or arrogance, the quality of state of being humble. Gave you guys an example of humility in the form of a video. Link will be in the PowerPoint. The first link shows two guys doing this skit. They're called the Skit Guys, and it was Be Humble Day. It was actually called Be Humble Day. And the skit was about 45 seconds long, and there was two people there, and one guy said, well, you want to say it? And the other guy said, no, I don't want to say it. You say it. I mean, you got it. The other guy said, no, I don't, you're way better than me. And the other guy said, no, I'm not worthy to say it like you. And the other guy said, well, now that you say I'm not worthy, I know I'm not worthy. So they were showing examples of being humble towards one another, taking themselves out of the spotlight so the other guy could have the shine for the moment. Another example was that I put on the PowerPoint presentation was example of a couple placing a wager on a sporting event. It could have been football. They didn't show a sporting event. They just had on jersey. I think it was football. The guy came in with his pride, wearing his pride jacket. He just knew his team was going to win. And one was like, you know what? You know your team's going to win. Let's put a wager on it. The guy said, all right, let's go. Whatever you want to bet. You pick the wager. I know my team is going to win. His team lost. And the wager was clean the house, and the guy was like, all right, I got to swallow my pride. I'm going to clean, scrub the floors. But that showed an example of his pride being humiliated with reference, made him humble inside. All right. So that was a great example as well. I choose to go with three key verses when I speak of humility. The first one was the reference I spoke to earlier about Jesus washing his disciples' feet of John 13:5. Then he poured the water into the basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and go wipe them with the towel that was wrapped around them. John 13:15-17 also states that, for I have given you an example that you all should do just as I have done to you. Truly, truly, I say to you, as a servant is not greater than his master, nor is a messenger is not greater than the person who sent him. If you know these things, blessed are you if you do them. What Jesus was trying to say in that moment is, it doesn't matter your hierarchy, it doesn't matter your status, it doesn't matter how people see you, it doesn't matter how you view people, it doesn't matter your age, the time you spent in the event. We're all, especially the people who's considered leaders, we're all servants, and we all should be humble. We all should be humble to the point where we should role reverse and do the bottom person's job. The boss should sometimes I don't know, in coaching, for example, let me give you an example of mine. Sometimes the boss, who's the athletic director or the head coach, should go out on the road like the interns do and recruit, or the interim coaches do and recruit. Sometimes the dirty work has to be done from the top going down, right? To show the followers that I came from somewhere and I still remember where I came from. And as long as I'm your leader, I'm going to serve you accordingly. Next verse was Proverbs 11:2. Then pride comes. When pride comes, then comes disgrace. But with humble comes wisdom. How do we apply humility to coaching? Right? A humble coach is a coach who puts everyone else's needs before their own. A humble coach doesn't brag about winning. They celebrate winning. They don't brag about winning or rubbing in the competitive face. It's celebrated. But a humble coach also learns the losses of losing. They're not too down on themselves for losing. Yeah, it sucks for losing, but they're learning losses from them. A humble coach values the small challenges that makes their role difficult, because lessons learned in those challenges make them a better coach. So if I start out and I want to be a head coach someday, I want to be athletic director someday, I have to learn the small deals when I'm in the position that I am now to learn how to cater to my followers in the future, right? To give you a quote from one of the readings that we've all read, Ethic 101 by John Maxwell. John Maxwell speaks of the golden rule. For those of you who don't know, the golden rule is treat others the way you want to be treated. Simple enough, right? One of his points in the books was there are things that you can do to hinder the golden rule, to kind of shake up the golden rule. And one of those things was pride. So I have to, go with the pride direction, because you can't talk about humility without talking about the opposite of humility, which is the pride. Example of the video I told you guys about earlier. One of his quotes in the books is pride goes before destruction. Right? Another quote John Maxwell did, he took an insert from C.S. Lewis, who's one of the great theologians, modern day theologians, as to me that's the point. That's to me. And C.S. Lewis said, our pride is in competition with everyone else's pride. It's because we want to be the biggest noise at the party, because we're annoyed with other people's noise. In that sense, pride is competition. So if pride is competition, we're not giving credit to where credit, we want to be seen. We want to be in the spotlight all the time. We're not giving credit to where credit is due. Obviously, humility. We're not putting people before us, the opposite of humility, and so on. I found another quote by C.S. Lewis about humility. Humility is not thinking of yourself less. Rewind. Humility is not thinking of less of yourself, but it's thinking of yourself less. It's a good quote. Concluding, I'd like to conclude with a Chinese proverb about a bamboo. You have to think of yourself as a bamboo. The higher you get, the more wiser you get, the taller you get, the deeper you bow. So the more wiser you get, the more popular you get in status, the higher rank you get in military or your office position or your stature, the more humble you should be. I implore you, as Jesus did at the Last Supper, to teach your followers how to be humble as they teach their followers how to be humble. Thank you. Have a blessed day.